You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 309. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, author of How to Get On Podcasts, the podcast matchmaker, and CEO and founder of the MLG Collective. I'm excited to share the stories and life lessons of changemakers and authors with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am hanging in there. Well, our dreams of meeting last week did not happen.
Womp,
and I am
womp.
devastated. I know. My husband got sick, really sick over the weekend, and he's okay now, but it was very sad not to come. So tell me all about the LA Times Festival of Books, because I have major FOMO and I want to hear all about it.
It was very wet and rainy, first and foremost. And I realized I haven't flown into LAX in probably a good 20 years since I lived there.
Oh, wow.
And
you usually fly into Burbank?
Okay. Burbank, yeah. I'm a small airport type of gal.
Yes, absolutely.
And flying into LAX, I was like, oh yes, this is so Los Angeles, just looking around at the people. And then I exited the terminal and went, well, where's the Uber people?
It is so far. You have to walk so far.
I had to ask the police officer. Like, where am I going? And it says to get on a shuttle. He's like, no, ma'am, don't get on a shuttle.
Don't get on a shuttle.
Don't get on the shuttle. Just walk. And it was raining, and I'm not sure why. Like I get it, Los Angeles, it doesn't rain much, but maybe cover something so we're not walking in the rain to the taxi or Uber line or Lyft line. So that was interesting.
That is, yes, I loathe that. That's why whenever I land at LaGuardia, I never do an Uber. I always do the taxi line because, sorry, my coffee's beeping. I always do the taxi line because it's like you just walk straight out the door and they're right there and there's people helping and all the taxis are lined up and it's so much easier. But even at LAX, I feel like to even get to the taxi area, you have to walk really far.
It's the same area.
It's the same area. It's like a totally different parking lot.
Yeah.
It's so far away. It makes me super cranky because I'm always like, by the time I get there, I'm sweating, right? Like I'm sweating. You're there. And I sound like such a whiner, but I don't like it. I don't like the walking with the luggage.
Yes. Yeah. Luckily, and I came prepared. I had grabbed an umbrella for my car before I left. So I was ready because I was soaked.
Yeah.
The majority of the festival is outside. And even what's inside, you still have to walk to get to each place. Yeah. And again, I have not been on a college campus in many, many years. Forgot how big a college campus is.
Right.
Where you're figuring out, where are you going? I ended up pulling out Google Maps to say, how do I get to this building?
Yeah.
It was hilarious. So my feet were soaking wet. It was nasty. Those were the bad parts. The good parts was that it was amazing. I am such a fan of the USC marching band. I love when they play with Fleetwood Mac Tusk.
Yeah.
And they opened the show.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I forgot. So I was media and I didn't really, I've never been media.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh wait, I can go where I want, when I want and be up front. Oh, this is how I'm going to do life from now on. I'm going to always be media.
Yeah.
So I was right up front watching them, and they played Tusk. They played Hot to Go.
Oh my
gosh,
that's
played
awesome.
Reading Rainbow. I was like,
Stop.
oh my God. Yes. I was about to cry.
I would cry.
It's in a book. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What if like Lamar walked out like right then?
Yes.
And it would have been.
Oh my husband asked, was he there? And I went, well, not that I saw. No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
But I was like a kid in the candy store. I was smiling so big. I'm looking at the cheerleaders like, yes, this is my dream. And you played Tusk and I am so happy. And
I love it.
That was the kickoff. And then I went to go see Lauren Ling Brown.
Yes.
Because I had not
you
gotten
love
to meet her
her
in person. I love
and
her.
You had her on the show. And she's wonderful.
Yes. So, and then again, as media, you sit where you want. And it's okay. You don't look like a psycho fan when you run up and say hello.
Yeah.
and get a hug before things start.
Yeah.
So I got to do that, which was so cool. And listen to
Good.
her and Kate Fagan. I have not
Yes.
read Kate's book, but
Yes.
just hearing her credits, I was like,
She's
oh,
incredible. Yeah. It was a
yes.
solid lineup. Those women are just, I mean,
Yes.
amazing.
And then I connected with Annalise Judge. She was
Nice.
there. So I was so excited, to finally get to see her again because it's only been like 2 weeks. No. But what else did I go see? Oh, I went to go see Stacey Abrams, and that was Pouring Rain too.
How was that?
She is, then again, media, I am right at the barrier, and she just comes walking by, and I'm like, oh, I'm so close I could touch her, but then somebody would probably think, weird. So I kept flashing
maybe
my
don't
media
touch
badge.
her. Yeah.
I kept like making sure that was facing out so
You're
everybody
like,
could see.
Yeah.
Not psycho. Media.
Media.
And I loved that she read from her children's book, Stacey Speaks Up.
I love that.
But then she also brought in how advocacy and empathy are so important and how we have to marry them to make a difference. It's not enough to feel, you have to act too.
Yeah.
And I was like, just take me to church. It was incredible. She has a new legal thriller coming out in July.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
And then I went to what I thought was just a romance panel. And this
girl, I could have told you. I could have told you.
I have not read these books.
The image of you sitting in a spicy romance, like the spiciest of probably the panels that weekend. I think there's another one that had like the dark romance might have gotten spicy too. But like the thought of you just sitting in there without reading, like made me die laughing because I was so excited.
I was crying, laughing. Annalise came with me to that one too.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
We were laughing, so we were like kicking each other, and I'm like, this is so funny. Megan Quinn, I want to be her friend.
She lives where I live. She lives in Colorado Springs. Not to like dox her. I don't know if should we say that?
I don't know. I mean, if you know where she lives,
I know where she lives. You can decide whether you want to edit that. I don't know. I don't know where her address, obviously. Colorado Springs is very large.
Yes.
Obviously Rebecca Yaros also lives here. So, but Megan lives here. And like, I love her so much. And I love her book so much. I've been reading her for, 10 years, I think. And part of the problem with me is that I grew up in very much purity culture world, right? And so as I started to, are we allowed to get a little PG-13?
Well, yeah.
How do you feel about that? Okay.
Yeah.
As I started to kind of embrace my sexuality as a woman and like let go of a lot of the like things that had been holding me back. I mean, it wasn't until I was in like my 30s when I started reading spicy romance. And I think that's what I love the most about spicy romance is it just allows women to openly vocalize their desires and be able to like read these books written by women are just the best. They're just the best. And you've got these hilarious. And so I haven't talked a lot about the spicy romance books I read online because I'm like, my mom watches my page, whatever. And now she knows. Now I'm just like, I am letting it all out. I read spicy romance and I love it with all my heart and soul. And Megan Quinn is one of the very best. So I have several pies I've been wanting to do for her. And I want to like be able to give her one in person someday. Maybe I'll like bump into her at the zoo or something. I don't know. But
she writes at her son's baseball games. So if you find out where he goes to school, that could be stalkerish, but also
I'm pretty
it's
good.
Very interesting. I'm not sure. Like if people don't know what she writes and she's writing, I'm like,
I love that.
Yes.
My friend's son played hockey with Rebecca Yaros' son. So like she would be at a lot of the games and I intentionally like didn't go because I was like, I don't want to be crazy. Like I wouldn't just like be like, oh, hey, good job to your son. I'd be like, Rebecca, and so I intentionally was like, don't tell me where she lives. Don't, because I need to be chill. So no, I wouldn't be weird, but I get really excited by authors as you do, it's like they are our rock stars. And, I feel like I need to like always take it down a couple notches. And I think I do pretty well in person. It depends. Some days, but anyway, I am on a tangent, but Megan Quinn.
She's
Yes.
hilarious. She is
Hilarious.
so dirty and it is so funny. And
Yeah.
she comes off as like this, she's got the blonde hair and she's like, wait, what? I'm just blonde. I don't get it. What was the question again?
Yeah.
And she is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first of all, the reason that I went to this one
Yeah.
is because my stepdaughter's favorite author is Allie Hazelwood.
Yes.
And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go and at least capture a picture to get Stepmom of the Year award. That
Absolutely,
was my goal.
as you should. Yes.
I also got video clips and I sent them off. And then I sit there listening. And now here's what I've been told. She always has these STEM female characters who are so strong. And that's why I love her books. So that's what I expected.
But that
and
is
I went,
what a daughter would tell their mom, stepmom. You know, they would say that to their elders.
well,
You know,
I'm like,
oh girl, Allie gets
the text
spicy.
messages. I'm like, yeah. Now I've been buying her these books for like Christmas and stuff. Well, what am I feeding you in? What is this? She's over 21, so it's okay.
Oh,
but
yeah, I mean, and they're so.
I'm dying of laughter.
Oh my gosh, they're so. I love that you've been feeding her steamy romances. That makes me
not
so
even
happy.
knowing.
Not even knowing.
Because you know what? These covers, these book covers, make it look like they're cute little rom-com things.
Yeah. And some people have issues with that. I like it because it makes it seem like you can read it in public without being like, you know. But I also will say I recognize the concern when like I actually ran into this gal at the airport years ago and like she was younger, probably in high school, I think, and her mom was standing next to her and she had a book that had like a sweet little hockey drawing on the front, but I know that book is like super dirty. And I was like, oh, have you read this? And she was like, and then the mom's like, is this appropriate for her age? And the daughter's in the back, like, you know, don't tell her. And I was like, you know, I think you should talk to your daughter about it. Because I didn't want to like rat her out because, you know, I get like, the best thing about these books is, and I totally respect everybody's different levels of what they feel they can handle or what they feel like is appropriate for their kids or whatever, you know, like in terms of introducing them to sexual content. However, as women, like when you are of, you know, consenting age, I think they're all so empowering, right? They're all men who, unless you go into the dark romance world, and that's like a whole other thing. And again, I have no desire to yuck anyone's yum. That's great for them. But like what I love about modern day romance and rom-coms, the spicy ones that are out today, is they're all very female empowerment. The men always treat them super, super well. They give you a standard for like, this is how I should be treated. And while obviously not every book boyfriend is going to be accessible in real life just because they are written by women, so they are like dreamed up by our brilliant brains, they are a good standard for this is how I should be treated, like not just in bed but in, you know, life. And this is, you know, and I think women deserve to talk about that. Women deserve to hear that. For so long, our sexuality has been utilized as a bargaining chip, and we have been nothing more than a, what's the word? I would say commerce. What's the word? We are commodity, essentially. Like our virginity has been used as a commodity. And women are obviously so much more than that. And that gets, you know, it was almost shameful for a woman to talk about those things, right? Because, and again, I have no judgment for people who don't feel comfortable talking about it. You know, everybody's different, a different place in life. But I think it's really important for women to realize, hey, I'm allowed to own this, and I'm allowed to make the choices I want to make, and I'm allowed to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and have power in that. And I think that's really, really cool. And so I love that all these romances are coming out and diving into that, but they are deceptive with the covers. I will admit that. Yes.
Consent was a big topic that
Yeah.
that came up. The owner of Ripped Bodice was the one who led the panel,
Oh my gosh, I
and
love that.
she prefaced the entire talk with, "If you have a child here, they're going to either learn a lot or you should." And then someone brought in like their 6-year-old,
No.
and we all just kind of, and I don't know what went over that one's head or what stuck in it, but that was interesting.
Yeah.
The other part that I did not know about these books, and just Nana Malone was on the panel.
Yes.
Her book came out yesterday, Gold Coast. It's on my Kindle now.
I'm so excited to read it. Yes.
I am. And I told her, well, I stalked her. I reached out. We've already connected.
Yes, you have.
Like,
yes, you have.
Oh, yes.
Have you read it?
No, because I was in the middle of Amanda Knox's book, and then I just finished that last night.
I want to hear about that too.
And I'm reading another book, so I'm like, but now I feel like I'm missing out on this whole genre. So
I am here to help you. I think starting with Gold Coast is a brilliant idea, and I will read it along with you. And if you have her in conversation, I would volunteer as tribute to join in, because
I have asked her, and she said, when are you thinking? And I'm like, shh, I got to go read the book.
Read it.
So luckily NetGalley was like, you're approved. I went, yes.
And your husband is going to be really grateful.
Oh, I told him all about these books, and he's like, oh, it's like 50 Shades all over again.
It was like way better though. Like, it's just so much better. And like, the reason, and each author brings a different thing to like the table, right? So Allie is known for, I mean, she's a genius, as you know, she's like a neuroscientist. And then like, also like English isn't even her first language. And then
I didn't know that. So when she opened her mouth, I was like, whoa, okay.
She's incredible. And she writes these amazing stories. They're hilarious, but they highlight the discrepancies for women in STEM. They highlight the fact that, you know, what women in STEM looks like, while also giving us a delicious treat of a yummy, yummy, steamy romance. And it's amazing. And then Megan is known for her snark, and she just, like you probably witnessed, she's really funny. She's just got really like witty heroines. Hers are more of a slow burn, I would say. So like it takes probably like, and I haven't read every single one of her books, so I'm sure there's differences, but half to 3/4 of the way to like really get the spice moving, just because she kind of builds it. She builds the tension.
She explained that.
So like everybody has a different style. And then you kind of realize like, so I have been excited to read Gold Coast. I can't wait. And I love that for you.
Well, and so they all have artwork included.
Oh, that's new. So that's new. And they are quite vivid. The artwork is quite vivid. So you do want to kind of keep those lock and key from your little ones, you know, if you don't, you know, like the
best was learning how we describe to the graphic artist how we want this to be done.
Oh my gosh, I would have loved to hear that.
Megan Quinn draws stick figures.
Yes.
And it's her friend's brother-in-law who does the artwork. Okay. And he used to draw puppies. And her friend was like, no, you should ask him.
Yeah.
He will do it. And then she describes the exchange of how she's like, hey, I need some artwork done. Oh, and like, this is what I write about. And the way she talks was totally like this too. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, it was so funny. I don't know how rated R we can go on this, but
right. And that's fine.
Positions and everything. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she was really giving it. And then Nana. I'm butchering her name, and I'm ridiculous. She shared how there were no women of color doing covers, and so she posed for her own covers. And it goes back
gorgeous.
To she is. Yeah.
She
it goes back
posing.
to the episode that aired last week, about seeing yourselves in books. And she said, you know, that the feedback she got was like, oh, it must be so cool to be modeling for your own cover. And she goes, no, it's ridiculous that I have to.
Absolutely.
So that was another part of this talk. It was an amazing panel. Absolutely incredible.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I wish that was like the number one panel I really wanted to go to, and the one you went to with Laura Ling. But those were like the ones I was looking forward to the most. I mean, there were so many, but the spicy romance one. I was like, oh my gosh, Allie Hazelwood and Megan Quinn. And this is Nana's debut, correct?
She's written over 100 books.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
terrible. How did I not know?
Because I want to say they were self-published.
But still,
She
I
has
read
been
a
around.
lot of those. Yeah. Okay. I just looked up Nana Malone's books, and it says here like almost 170 titles. I don't know exactly how many are different translations, but she has published a lot of books.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this Gold Coast Dilemma that published yesterday, I wonder if that is her first traditionally published book or not, but it looks fantastic.
I want to say it's not the first traditionally published book, but maybe recent.
Recent? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I am excited. I had not heard of her. And so I love that.
Yeah, I'm
that
gonna
panel
dive
and you are
in.
introduced. Yeah, absolutely.
So I could show up next week as a totally different person.
You are. And I want you to send me texts about your whole spicy reading journey. I want to hear I don't want to hear all the details, but like you tell me where you're at.
I was going to say, or maybe I should just have Ted send you a text of Michelle started reading.
What have you done to her? And I'll just say you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what happens when you go to the LA Times Festival of Books.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. All kinds of things.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah. And then I saw some other people. That wasn't it. Like, that's what I got out of the book festival. Yay. My feet were wet and I got spicy smut and I came home.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got to finally meet Steve Hoffman, who was my client last year with his memoir, A Season for That.
Nice.
He was on a panel, and I've met his wife, but I had not gotten to meet him in person. So
yeah,
it's so funny when you see people for the first time and you're like, oh, it's you. And like, you recognize each other and you just, it's so nice.
Yeah, I love that.
And then my buddy Victor Shee from the Kamala Harris campaign showed up a day early to see me. So,
that's so kind.
Yeah, he had a pass, so he was going on Sunday anyway.
Okay.
And of course, the people he was going to see, as evidenced by his post later on, are much bigger than me. I was a tiny side thing.
Well, but he came to see you.
He did. He came a day early, which was amazing.
That's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is he going to introduce you to Kamala?
I don't know. I've been friends with other people who could maybe too. So
let's get on that. Yes.
Yeah. Whoever does, I'll give them a special gift, I guess.
One of your new spicy romance books.
She's in San Francisco tomorrow night. So by the time this airs, it will have been last week. But she is doing the keynote at Emerge America's Gala.
Ooh, cool. Are you going?
I asked, no, because by the time I found out, the tickets are now like the Uber sponsor tickets.
Right.
It would be worth the money, but I'm like, no, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
So I will live stream it and I will, do the social media content around the event.
Yeah.
But as of right now, no. Oh, considering it's tonight. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. Because if it is, I don't know what I would wear.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool. Well,
yeah,
I'm so
but it was
glad
amazing.
You had such a good time. I have so much FOMO. I was so pumped. I was so pumped. But it wasn't meant to be this year. Next year, hopefully, we will see.
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to be more ready for next year. Like, yes, I know how to do it.
Yes, you do. You do. You can show me the ropes. I hate that. Here's the thing. It's so hard when you're planning trips with your husband because like if one of you falls apart, it's like, can the other person go? Like, are they able to watch the kid? It's so hard when you have little kids, whereas I guess it's not hard if making trips with your spouse if you don't have young children, but if you do, it's very tricky. We
have not taken a trip without the kids. Yeah. It's either or. Yeah. Or and everybody.
It's just I feel like between so there's me and my husband and my 2 boys and my 2 dogs, right? So there's a potential for 6 beings to just lose it at some point, you know? So I feel like every time before I leave, I'm like, and it was kind of a mess. Everything kind of blew up that week right before. Just my dogs got fleas, and then Dwayne got really sick, and it just wasn't in the cards. But the fleas was an easy fix, but it still was like, okay.
I feel like the dogs are the hardest. Like children you can take. And I say this even to the kids. I'm like, I can take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to bring your child, you know, places like on a plane or to a restaurant for the most part.
Yeah.
The dogs you can't.
No, you can't.
It's frowned upon.
It is frowned upon. So it's a hard, and Baker has a lot of health issues. He's like pretty healthy now, but he'll like get, I don't know, every once in a while he'll get like a horrible UTI or like have to have emergency surgery for something in his stomach, or, you know, just things that dogs do. And he just tends to be more iffy. So I get nervous with him because I'm like, are you going to be okay? It's always like holding my breath to like get on the plane, just make sure everybody's okay. So that is hard. And I hate, you know, I don't know how people do it and not, I don't know how people are able to travel a whole bunch with their jobs and stuff without, you know, something coming in the way. Because it's just, I feel like something's always coming in the way on our end.
Well, somebody's at home. Somebody is obviously holding down the fort at home.
Yeah.
You can't just up and leave.
Yeah. No. And so it is tricky. And my husband's great. Like he honestly, like I don't have to prep anything before I leave for any trips. Like it's a seamless transition. He's got it all. But you know, it is still that like, if he's really sick and he's in charge of everybody at home, like I can't leave because, you know, and I don't want to leave him, you know, unattended either if he's, you know, really ill. So that is what happened. And, you know, one of these days I'll make it to all the things, but it's not this season.
That's okay. There's a season for everything. And I
wouldn't trade it. I love having my sweet babies here and sweet puppies and all the things. So
yes.
Well, I am glad you had an amazing time though. I'm glad it worked out for you to go. I'm glad you didn't get like hypothermia from your soaked feet or like.
No, I came home early. I changed my flight and came home early.
You. Yeah. Took a hot shower.
And the flight was delayed. I wouldn't have gotten home until after 10 p.m. And that would have not gone well on the mom points.
Yeah.
So coming home early and having dinner with them,
I
felt like I mastered the day.
Yeah.
And that is very rare. Any mom, especially if you're a working mom, understands what it's like to think, well, I did this part good. The rest, And Saturday, I felt like I just crushed every aspect of life. I was like,
I love that for you. You did it. And you did. I mean, you went and you girl bossed in LA, and then you came home and you mom bossed the house. And
I even did an Instagram live walking in the rain with Rhonda Fox and Dr. Nola Haynes in celebration of Katie Fang.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just walking in the rain. I'm like, this is no big deal. I'm just in Los Angeles. Yeah, crazy. I'm like, yeah, I really crushed the day.
You crushed the day. You did. So you do very many let me rephrase that. Do you do very many Instagram lives?
I do not.
Okay.
No. Because I'm not a fan of let me just show up and wing it.
Yeah.
And I was nervous because here I was in Uber and they're like, we're going live, join us. And I went, not from an Uber.
Yeah.
Even though someone else is driving, but I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then I was going to have to get my backpack on and everything. So instead I just got my backpack on, put my umbrella up.
Yeah.
And then I hit live as I walked and I thought, wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it worked.
That's amazing.
It was fun.
I love it so much. You're amazing. That is so cool.
It's rare.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to have those days. I feel like, I rarely have those days where I've hit all the notes.
Yeah.
Usually there is something I have left behind in the trenches. And I think that's normal. And I think that's okay. You know, there's all this talk about women. I don't think any human can have it all in terms of being able to do every single thing you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
There will be days you do, and there's going to be a lot of days you don't. And that's okay. But I think it's hard, especially as moms, you feel the mom guilt, and then as
Oh,
business
yeah.
owners, you feel the business owner guilt, and you're like, I don't know what to
Katie was
do.
crying at 5 a.m. She
Oh,
met me outside my bedroom door crying, goodbye. I was like, it's not
oh,
goodbye. I'm gone for like 12 hours. Like,
yeah,
you're fine.
yeah,
Goodbye. And so I felt horrible. And I'm like, you can't
yeah,
make me feel bad for going one day. I am
yeah,
going down. I'm coming home. I said, if I was to work in an office, this is what it would be like. I
yeah.
would leave and come home.
Absolutely.
So
Oh,
it felt like I wasn't crushing the day at 5 a.m., but
but then you did
by
crush
5
the day.
p.m.,
Yeah.
I was good to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much for you. And I'm so glad it was such a good day. And I can't wait. I can't wait until next year. I can't
Yes.
wait.
Yeah.
Did you decide whether you're going to the Read with Jenna event at the end of May or not?
Right now, I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
no. We
okay.
still have camping plans, and
You
I
do.
cannot change them I could change them, but that would
Mhm.
mean canceling them.
Yeah.
And it's Yosemite, and
No,
there's
and you've been
literally
really looking forward to that.
there's not a day. I'm not kidding when I say there's not a single day available,
Wow. Oh my
let
God.
alone 4 nights.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm going to guess this probably won't be her last one. It looks like, it looks really fun. And if it goes well, she'll probably do more. So
yeah,
I think it's great. Well,
yeah.
someday we will meet sometime
Oh,
this
we will.
summer. I'm going
Yes,
to come to you and it'll all work out.
yes, we will.
But
One of these days.
yeah. Oh,
And
well,
hopefully next week you are going to share some of your travel updates,
yes, I'm
and
supposed to
I
be
will get to
going.
live vicariously through you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be going to Austin tomorrow. And as of right now, all systems are go. I am very determined to make it on that plane. So we will see. But I am hopeful. So
It will work. It will work.
it will work. I know. I need to have more of a positive attitude. I think I'm kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm always like, which is hard. I hate making plans and canceling them. And as someone with chronic illness anyway, you become kind of known for that because you never know what your body's going to do from day to day. So you have, you make plans, you have the best of intentions, but there's always kind of that caveat that if you wake up and you're not doing well, you can't really do anything about that,
Yeah.
And that has always really been hard for me to wrap my brain around because I hate being seen as like a flaky person. And I always tell Dwayne, people want flaky pies, not flaky pie bakers. So it's hard for me. And that's been a number one thing I'm still working through in my own heart because I hate canceling on people. And sometimes I've had to cancel on people like 3 times in a row for different reasons, like my health, one of them, or my husband's health the next time. And it's like, ooh, can we catch a break here? And the thing I keep saying to myself for this year specifically, and I'm going to try to keep saying it is, um, I think I saw Morgan Harper Nichols, that she's an incredible artist and does these like sayings and quotes and poems, and she's just brilliant. And she, I think, wrote one a while ago that said, "I am letting go of the things not meant for me." And I just keep saying that to myself. I am letting go of the things not meant for me because, and you kind of have to let go of your own pride in what people think of you, because I could be an incredibly reliable person, but it would come at the detriment of my own health. No one wants me to show up to an event and have a seizure, right? That's not something people want. It could come at the detriment of my family. And so, I think everybody in life is making decisions about, if you do this, you don't get to do this, right? Every single decision you make. And coming to peace, I'm one of those people that just wants to do all of it, and I want to be perfect, and I want to keep all the agreements. And so I am working on saying maybe for a while and not committing, and then even knowing that once I commit, there is a chance, and trying to readjust my priorities. And not everybody's going to understand when you do that.
Right.
Not everyone, people obviously are going to feel disappointed if you can't make it to something they were planning on you. And I feel disappointed to let them down, but it's something I am learning to process without hating myself for, if that makes sense, because my the way I functioned for years was just bullying myself for it. Like, oh, you're a failure, you're a loser, you're letting people down. And that sucks to, to just feel that way about yourself. And so it's not that I take it lightly. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'll be there, willy nilly. Like, I don't care about canceled plans, but it's something that I have to say, okay, I could not do anything about this. I made a decision to be with my husband. That was the right decision. Is it deeply disappointing? Absolutely. And we're letting go because clearly you weren't meant to be there. No matter how much you wanted to be, this wasn't the time for this. And I just have to trust that the right time things will lock in place. I've been wanting to visit Annabelle's book club in LA. It's a bookstore. She created it, started when she was 16 years old. It's been open for a couple years. She is phenomenal. I wanted so badly to get to see her, meet with her, give her a pie for Independent Bookstore Day, do a highlight on her. She's one of those people. I think I've canceled my trip to see her like 3 times, like my ability to be able to meet with her. And sometimes like schedules just wouldn't line up. But I felt horrible because I'm like, she's so amazing. I want to see her. And I just kind of have to trust that like when it's time, it will happen. It will work out, and being at peace with that. And I think it's a good reminder to give other people grace when they have to cancel on you or they have to move things around, to say, okay, like I see you are a human and you have a life and you have things going on. And I think in our American go, go, go society, a lot of people, the thing they value most of all is reliability. And that's not a bad thing. Being reliable is something you should be. But I think reliability looks differently, in different scenarios. It doesn't always mean I will literally burn the world to the ground so I don't break this commitment to you. Sometimes it does, if it's your kids or, something. Mm-hmm. But you always have to wage whether what is able to happen, what is not. And then having grace for yourself and for others to say, okay, it wasn't the right time. I'm letting it go. I was talking to a friend a while ago who had a family tragedy, and she was supposed to go to this really incredible book event thing. And she was deeply disappointed, but her grief, she wasn't at a place yet to be able to do it grief-wise. Obviously, she couldn't have predicted that tragedy coming into place, and she was torn, but she knew, I don't think I'm ready, and I don't think I'm okay to go. And I think it's important to honor that and say, okay, like, this is super disappointing that I'm not going to be able to do this. It's already hard that I'm heartbroken and then I can't make this thing work, but I'm going to honor my grief right now and say, I will trust that this will work out another time and that this isn't the right time for me, and it's hard. It's a hard practice, but that is my TED Talk for today. You're getting many. Every week you get a new TED Talk, and this is it.
Well, I think it's all about managing expectations of yourself, of others, and respecting those expectations and making them realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we often put on ourselves unrealistic expectations of what we can accomplish in so many hours of the day and that kind of a thing. And it's really hard when you do look at others out there who appear to be accomplishing so much, and yet the curtain is never fully pulled back to show how they are accomplishing things.
Exactly.
How much help is there?
Where are your children? And how much money do you have? And, you think about that stuff and that is one of my biggest, I totally agree with what you just said. And that's one of my biggest issues with like influencer culture and, even shows like Joanna Gaines and like all the stuff her and Chip would do. Now, I am all for a woman in business. She's obviously very talented. I think it's amazing they built like an empire in Waco. However, it's not realistic that she accomplished all those things and homeschooled 4 children and did, now I recognize some people have bigger capacities than others, and some people are able to get a lot more done in a day. I have a lower capacity, and I commit to a Joanna Gaines capacity. And that's something I'm working on, is don't commit to a capacity you don't have. but I just don't think it's accurate to show just these clips of like a show, like we're doing this, this, and this. It's like, where's the team? Where are all the people saying, I have this person watching my children. I have this person doing this. I have this person doing this, because we all, it's just not possible. And so with influencers, you think like, wow, how are they able to get all that done? Or how is their house always clean? Like, how are they, but they are giving something up to accomplish that, or they are paying somebody to accomplish that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, I think, like you said, adjusting our expectations for ourselves. What are we capable of doing? And that's something I'm really working on this year, because I get very excited and I'm like, yes, 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 I'm in for everything. And then I have to be like, okay, what are you capable of right now? And that's important. That's really wise. And I feel like you do a very good job of it. You run a business, you're a great mom. I feel like you accomplish a lot. And
I
it's
try. I have a
amazing.
lot of lists, but it doesn't mean, I would love to have time to sit down and write and do more
Yeah.
of that. And yet, it's not a season right now of doing it, despite
Mm-hmm.
reading a chapter of Big Magic every night and having Elizabeth Gilbert in my ear going, you
Yeah.
can do it. And,
Yeah.
crush it. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm already getting up at 5:30 in the morning. So
Yeah.
unless I'm getting up at 4, it's
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I just did an interview that should come out here shortly with Yahoo about
Mm.
different podcasts
Yes.
but also this influencer thing, and how there's so many, especially women. And I say this because I don't see the men doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
praising these influencer types or these
Mm-hmm.
podcasts and, oh, you are crushing it. You're doing this. And you're kind of not,
Mm-hmm.
because there is so much else. There's help. There's so much help.
So
And
much
I
help.
think that when someone shows up and doesn't share
Mm-hmm.
that I have, like I always go back to Rachel Hollis and how she blatantly lied about,
Yeah.
I was down to my last dime. No,
Yeah.
you weren't. Your husband was a
A
Disney
Disney
exec. You had a ton
executive.
of money. You had a
Yeah.
maid. You had a nanny. You have all of these resources. And yet you're fooling people and you're not showing up honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a house cleaner. I want one. I had one at one point, but I would love a house cleaner. I do
Yeah.
not have a chef. It is me, myself, and I. So yeah, I got
Mm-hmm.
off that plane on Saturday, and guess who came home and made pasta? Me.
Wow. You're
So
incredible.
no, it's just that we don't have this help. This is
Right.
not. This is real life.
Right.
We don't have this huge team that is backing us up, that is
Mm-hmm.
doing all of these things. So to have perfection show up
Mm-hmm.
is not realistic. And it goes back
Agreed.
to the expectations that we put on ourselves. We should not be looking at these people online and going, oh, well, if she can do it, I should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No.
no.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love most about you and your podcast is you do show up in a very genuine way. And you're like, this is what, I'm doing. And this is what it looks like, because both of us are one woman shows. And I think it's important to be honest about that and talk about that. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately in terms of even just letting people in a little more to what like my life looks like. I think I'm always so embarrassed because it's like such a chaotic mess. But I think people want to see that. People want to know, oh, it's not just me,
Mm-hmm.
That's a mess. Like it's not just me that, struggles to get all the things done during the day or I think it's really important. So I love that you show up in that space and you're a voice in that podcast realm. You're not just trying to get fame and fortune on some false pretense of
There
idyllic
is no fame and
lifestyle,
fortune in
but
podcasting.
you are saying these are the real issues. This is who I am. And this is what we're talking about. And I think that is worth its weight in gold.
Thank you, friend.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very proud of you. You do a really good job showing up in all the areas of your life. So
I'm trying. I don't always win, but
most days I feel like you do, I feel like everybody needs a outside source to be like, look at your day and say, hey, you know what? You did really well today. Look at what you did. Because I think so easily, often we see the things we didn't do, but to have someone show up on the outside and be like, did you do those dishes? Nice. Did you, pick your kids up from school on time? Killing it. Okay.
yeah.
Did you wear your jammies all day just because you wanted to? That's great too. Just
Did you finish another book? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's awesome. You're killing it. So I think it's such a hard, you got we probably should devote a whole nother episode to this, but you've got the, like we said, influencer culture and these special, what was it? Just self-help gurus. There we go. Sometimes my mouth goes so fast.
My face doesn't hide any of my emotion or feeling when you say that.
Yes. Self-help gurus that are telling people this is how you need to live, and people react to it because people want to be successful. Everybody feels like they're failing. Everybody feels like they need help, or that if this one person tells me what to do, it's going to change my life. Mm-hmm. And the reality is there's no one thing that changes your life. You have to make the little decisions each day that is going to change the shape of your life. And you have to decide what that looks like. And it's not going to be a one size fits all picture. There's going to be people who are CEOs of top businesses and parent, and they figure out their own system. And then there's going to be people who keep their business on a slower mode while they're parenting, because that is the focus of that time. And there's nothing wrong with either life you choose. You just have to own your choice and your space. And like you said, your season. Yeah. And then when you get to a season that's different, you own that season. And comparing it, to have the audacity to say to somebody, this is how you should live, I feel like that's a huge responsibility. That would really freak me out to say that to somebody. Like, I'm fine giving advice and saying this is what I think, but everybody is so different, and everybody needs to own their life and their space in their own way. And I lost my train of thought there about I was going somewhere with the self-help gurus, but it's, what was I going to say? Oh my gosh, perimenopause. Hang on. I think I just was basically going to say that it can be really dangerous to look at someone and say, oh, this is how I need to live. And then if they say I'm doing this wrong, like I'm failing, I think you have to take little bits of advice from people that you think are good and will work for you. And you need to sort them out the way you need to. And you need to do your best for your sphere of influence and what you want that to look like. And too many people in our culture are striving for a perfection that is not only impossible, it's dangerous, because it won't. First off, you'll spend your whole life not appreciating what you have and what you've done. And then you will, I feel like, end up on your deathbed thinking, I could have done this better, or I could have done this better. And I am all for self-improvement. Every day I'm like, how could I do this better? Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But to live in a series of regrets because someone in the internet said it has to be this certain way, I think is a tragedy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we need to be willing and open to figuring out what works best for us, and not just taking and consuming everything that's fed.
Yes.
And taking that as Bible.
Yes. And just like you said, setting realistic expectations for yourself and for the people around you, and what this world looks like for you right now, and having grace for others to do the same. I think that's really important. So if you're out there and you feel like you're failing, don't listen to the influencers. Nope, you're not alone. And you're probably doing really well. You're probably doing great.
You're crushing it.
And don't listen to the self-help influencers on the internet, unless they're telling you about spicy books to read. Then listen. Listen. And we'll let you know why to listen after we both read Gold Coast Dilemma. We will. Yeah, we are here for Michelle's spicy book journey. I am ready for this era of your life.
Well, friends, stay spicy until next week.
That should be our sign off every day. Stay spicy. Absolutely.
That's our new one. All
right. Perfect.
Stay spicy, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.